Alright, this should be our first chapter in disc number 4 if I calculated correctly. If not, you'll excuse me for that, but we're right around that range. So basically, it's been a few days since I've worked on this statue because of teaching, and I come back to it with a fresh eye, and I can see that I can see some subtleties that I want to change. And it might be that this morning I'm starting pretty early working on this, so the light in my studio could be a tad different than it was. But what I'm going to do in this first chapter of disc number 4 is move around the drawing since it's my first day back, and I'm making this cast shadow underneath the breast a little bit darker, just because I see it that way right now and I like it that way. So I'm just going to kind of go with my pencil strokes with the lay of the land, and I want to feather off. Okay, this is the part of the drawing where sometimes in the past I'd get really timid, where I'd get to like a certain place and I'd be like, oh, I'm afraid to do that because I'm afraid to screw it up, and there is the risk of like messing things up, no doubt about it. But this is a good skill to have, pushing it and taking it to the next level. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of, look at how my pencil stroke is going with the roundness of the breast. I'm wrapping around. I'm basically doing some more modeling factors. I'm pushing it. Now, as I do this, I've got to take into consideration I'm drawing a light statue and not get too heavy-handed. One brush stroke there was, or pencil stroke was a little heavy-handed, but that's okay. So now, as soon as I've done those few pencil strokes, even though this one's a little dark, I'm starting to develop this reflected light, which is just going to give everything a little bit more volume. Modeling factors give more volume. So that's all I'm doing right now to the breast. I'm just really tweaking some more surface planes. So now, this is an underplane right over here. So what I'm going to do is same thing. I'm going to go with the lay of the land. So what I usually tell my students with color is I tend to paint faces a little bit monochromatically, and then at the end of the painting I will go over that monochromatic face with a couple of color opposites, and that really tweaks it and it makes it very colorful. So that's kind of what I'm almost doing right now with pencil and with black and white. I've done the bulk of my rendering, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak, add in some different shades to really push all the subtle surface planes. So, like I have been saying earlier in the DVD, you've always got to think big picture first before you can get into what I'm doing now. And quite frankly, I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing with the subtleties. I think you can. I'm looking at my computer screen right now, and you can pretty much see it. So my biggest concern right now with this drawing is the creation of like a third value dark. I don't want to go too dark with what I'm doing right now, and so then the drawing will cease to exist as a light cast. It will start to become like a middle tone cast, and I don't want that. So this is okay. Definitely this line on the side of the breast does not exist in real life. So I'm going to just tap it, and that was pretty easy. And I'm going to drop this breast reflected light a little bit. This is not easy because there's a lot of pencil on here. So it actually pulled off a little bit better than I thought. I'm going to take my finger and just mush that. Okay, so at this point you want to really look before you commit. And I'm looking. 50% of your time should be looking. So now I go back over this. So this is the rendering part. I mean, this is tedious stuff, but the end result could be quite gorgeous. And what I really like about this process is that you're creating, through the eraser process, through the putting down more pencil, you're constantly creating like this texture on the paper that can't be created in a 20-minute drawing. And the texture is kind of what makes the drawing really beautiful. So now this reflected light is too light, but that's okay. I'm just trying to get the roundness of the breast. So I'm just feathering all of this out. A little better with the reflectedness of it, and it's a little bit softer. I don't have any like major dark pencil strokes, so I'm still going to go over this. My hand is way back here on the pencil, and I'm really feathering. I mean, this is the first time I'm drawing since Saturday. Today is Monday, and so I'm just taking it nice and easy. Okay, I've got a little reflected light now underneath that breast. You can argue that it's a little light, so I can tone it down ever so slightly, but I kind of want it there just because it creates like a little bit more volume. Now what I'm doing is I'm just scribbling on top of what I already have, and that will just put some more pencil down on the paper in no particular direction, and that just kind of smooths everything together. So now the nooks and the crannies of the paper are really going to start to wreak a little bit of havoc with me, so I'm going to have to, at this stage of the drawing, really go in there with my eraser, and I need to like kind of almost push. What I'm doing right now is, yeah, I'm putting some oils down from my fingers on the paper, but I'm pushing the pencil into the paper, because right now the pencil's really sitting on top of the paper, and if you just looked at what I did, look at how much pencil just came right off on my finger very quickly. So that tells me that most of the pencil's sitting on the surface, and I'm kind of like pushing it in to the paper to eliminate all the texture things. I want that eliminated mainly in the shadow. Alright, so let's come back up. So basically, this section of the drawing, probably these next few chapters, I'm going to be doing the thing of the Ferris wheel metaphor, and that is you move around and around and around, and you don't stop, and you don't get stuck. If you get stuck on a Ferris wheel, you're in big trouble. You know, you're going to be going down on some kind of boom or a ladder from the fire department. So same metaphor what you're drawing. If you get stuck, like if I start to almost, get so totally anal on getting this breast perfect, I'm going to screw it up because I'm going to lose sight of the big picture. So Ferris wheel theory, you just constantly move. Alright, let's move on to the next chapter. I like what I did there.